Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be exploring the timeline and stories told regarding the Broomfield job that Barry used as a bit of an alibi for the day that Suzanne was reported missing. Lauren Scharf recently did a video on that same topic, and she did some excellent investigative reporting on that. And so what's been turned up is that the Broomfield job is a real job, and the main contractor, the actual contractor for the job, is Garrett Construction LLC. They subcontracted to EA Outdoor Services LLC, which is owned by Barry's friend Tony Miller. He subcontracted out to Barry for the wall job, the original wall job, which was in October of 2019. At that time, Barry delegated the work to Cassidy Cordova and Cody Cox, who did the work putting up the wall, and Barry did not help. It turns out the wall work was unacceptable, and Barry was told that he was going to need to fix it at a future date. On April 7th, 2020, revision plans were filed for the wall, and on May 7th, 2020, Lauren's source from EA in Indiana stated that he was informed on May 7th, 2020 that a plan was in place for a crew to begin repairing that wall on May 11th, 2020. And then we know that Barry's statements were that this was not a last-minute project, and that he said that the job had been in the works for a month. And Barry stated that he went to do prep work or setup, something like that, on Sunday, and that he left Suzanne in bed at 5 a.m. From somewhere, there have been conflicting statements about whether he was at home at 5 a.m. or not, but I don't know the original source for that information. So we'll just go with this being a Barry said, Jeffrey said, and Morgan said, and what the facts are report. So Barry said that he left the home at 5 a.m. and Suzanne was in bed, and that was Sunday morning. Then Morgan says that the original plan for the Broomfield job, the retaining wall, included just her and Barry to do the work, which, I guess the original job was just Cassidy and Cody. Morgan said that they were originally supposed to go out there at the end of April. And then she said that the plans changed, pushing the project to the 1st of May, and then changed again to the weekend of May 10th. And she stated that Barry called her asking her to assemble a crew for the job on Mother's Day, and that surprised her. And she called that last minute and saying that he changed everything. And he told her to get together a crew. Then Morgan and Jeffrey Puckett and Cassidy Cordova drove to Broomfield together. Barry stated that once he learned that Suzanne was missing, he left there in a hurry. He says, "I rushed home. I left all my tools at the hotel. I called my workers and said, I have a family emergency. You're going to have to figure this out on your own." Morgan said Barry called again around 6:10 p.m. and he said he'd been up there all day, like getting the job ready for us. And she said that he told her that he was leaving, that he had a family emergency, and that he left tools behind at the hotel. Jeffrey Puckett said that he was ordered to Denver by Barry that morning, but didn't see Barry because he had already left due to a family emergency. And Jeffrey says that despite being told that the landscaping work was urgent, he arrived to find no tools, and he was left to wait around at the hotel for 2 days. And he stated to the Daily Mail that he never actually visited the job site. And Morgan says he didn't leave the tools that they needed, and that it looked like he had emptied out his truck, and that there was all kinds of stuff that they didn't need. And then Morgan says that Barry called her on Monday morning, and he was distraught. It was around 8 a.m., and he said that the crew should to wait for delivery so they could finish the job. And then Morgan said in that interview that she waited until Tuesday, but the materials never arrived. Jeffrey Puckett said that they returned to Salida on Tuesday and that he has not heard from Barry since, but he was paid. Morgan said that they packed up and drove back to Salida, and she said that when she got back to town, she was approached by two men that were both linked to Barry, and that they told her that they would give her paycheck, but they didn't want it to look like hush money. But in that most recent video that Lauren posted, she said that Morgan, Cassidy, and Jeffrey were all photographed working on that site on Monday and or Tuesday. They definitely went there and did some work. And her source told Lauren that the wall ended up looking even worse than it did before, and that a different crew from Indiana arrived in late May to tear out the wall and rebuild it. And Lauren noted that Morgan and Jeffrey were both paid. Cassidy Cordova, George Davis, Trevor Noel, Tony Miller, and Barry's fellow firefighters have all declined her interview requests. And I have a few lingering questions. The first one is that Lauren reported that the girls left to go camping on Wednesday, which would be May 6th, 2020. And I know that the reports were that they were camping in Idaho and that they were expected home on May 10th. And I've got lots of questions about that because it is 634 miles to the Idaho border from Salida, and so even going nonstop at 60, and even if their destination was just at the border, it would take at least 10 hours to get there one way. And so this is an extremely short camping trip with a whole lot of drive time, and it doesn't really make any sense to me at all. My next question is, when was the room in Broomfield booked? Because I know some places have reported that Barry spent the night there. Other places say that he got the room on Sunday. Another question is, where was Barry's Bobcat that Sunday? Did he take it with him up there? Was it still at the house? I also would really like to know, when was the last confirmed sighting of Suzanne by anyone other than Barry? I'd also like to know when the last time was that anyone other than Barry spoke to Suzanne in voice. I don't want to rely on text messages as being the last time anyone had contact with her. I'd really like to know when was the last confirmed time that Suzanne was around. Thank you for watching Another Day in the Car with JuleZ. I'll keep looking into this and keep you posted.